Okay. Chakshurmilitam Vinna Tasmai Shri Guve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manupasam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. Not the books, not the books. Swayam Rupa Kadayam Dadati Swayam Dadati Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Buddhani Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaha. Namaste Saraswati Deve Govani Pachayane Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Pishato Dishatarine Panchakapa Trivasha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Rama. Okay, so welcome to our little get together on Ekadashi. Today is Ekadashi. Yes, all right. Good. Yes, so today being Ekadashi, very good day to talk about the chanting. How we are meant to deepen our relationship with the Holy Name. This is a very important topic, and I do like to conduct Holy Name retreats. They're not just 1 or 2 hours, but 3 full days, where we really dive deeply into the chanting. Because, anything that we do very regularly, very easily we become over familiar with that activity. And we start taking it lightly and cheaply. We forget what we do, And the chanting, because hopefully we are all chanting every day, so the chanting can become easily some mechanical routine thing. That we're just blabbering something down more or less mindlessly. And that kind of chanting will not actually give much benefit, really. So, and because it is such an important part of our spiritual practice, it's well worthwhile to make really efforts to get on deeper levels of chanting. Actually, if we take this chanting seriously, it becomes hard work. Yes, it's hard work, chanting. So, yeah, and Holy Name retreats are very powerful because the major part of the benefit comes because we leave everything behind and we just go in seclusion for some days. And we park all our responsibilities and duties. Everything can wait till after the retreat. And that gives a very good focus, because modern life now is so fast with so many different distractions and activities and internet and phone and social media, and all these things distract us so much from our focus on the Holy Name. So it's very good to every now and again, plan for a Holy Name retreat where we park everything else and we go somewhere in seclusion and we try to deepen our understanding of chanting. Yes, if anybody is interested to have a nice experience, I do this every year in Eka Chakra. I think I may have mentioned it before. Eka Chakra Dham. This is Nityananda's appearance place outside of Mayapur. So all you have to do is register on my website and be in Mayapur 2 days before, and I arrange everything. the bath, accommodation, prasad, everything. Okay. Yes, so let us understand, we may have heard this before, that actually Krishna and his holy name, they are non-different, right? You heard that before? So we hear these things, but to actually realize them is a whole different thing. Right? So in other words, Krishna and the holy name being non-different means that Krishna actually, he extends himself into the material world by giving us his holy name. This is quite amazing, because if it wasn't for that, we would have no chance how to re-establish this lost and forgotten relationship with him. So, and this is exactly why we chant, because the chanting of Krishna's holy name, this is how we reconnect and reawaken this lost and forgotten relationship. It's only through the chanting. And interestingly, we can see that in all other religions, this understanding is also there of chanting something on beads. Like Christians, they pray on the rosary beads, and the Muslims also have beads, and the Buddhists also have beads, and the Hindus also have beads. And all the religions have this one thing in common, that these days people don't do that practice anymore. You know, which Christian is praying on the rosary? I mean, maybe some old granny in some village, but usually people don't do this anymore. And also amongst the Hindu community, they also don't do it. So, and I guess we can say this is why Mahaprabhu came and he reintroduced this for everyone. Doesn't matter whether you're a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, you know, everybody can chant the holy name on the beads like that. And now the amazing thing is, because Krishna and the holy name are non-different, so chanting the holy name can give us the same benefit as meeting Krishna face to face. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? Just imagine you actually meet Krishna personally, face to face. I mean, who wouldn't want to get that experience? Because we all know how important it is to have good association, right? When our gurus come, we are very keen to get association, to capture some merciful glance, some smile, right? So, and by chanting the holy name, we can get exactly the same benefit as meeting Krishna face to face. That is very amazing. So if we would advertise here in Chicago, tonight we can meet Krishna face to face, I think all the Hindus would be here. Nobody would want to miss out on that, right? Yes. So, but of course, it depends how we receive Krishna. Right? So let us imagine we are inviting our spiritual master to come and visit our home. And then when he comes, we turn our back to him, we ignore him, or we fall asleep. You know? So then probably he would just immediately leave. You know? And such kind of a reception we cannot even call association. Right? Yes. So we wouldn't get much benefit from such kind of reception. And not only that, we may even get some reactions for, you know, disrespectful, negligent, inattentive way of receiving Guru, right? So, and a similar thing is also happening there in our chanting, unfortunately, that You may know that there are 10 offenses to chanting the holy name, right? In most temples around the world, we recite them after Mangalarti. And then we say, and there's also an 11th offense, which is, let's see if the others know, what's the 11th offense to chanting the holy name? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Really? My goodness. Yes, it is to be inattentive while chanting. Yes. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this inattentiveness is the root cause for all the other 10 offenses. Yes. So, and usually in the holy name retreats I like to explore this inattentiveness. This is actually a deep topic. You can keep yourself busy for 3 full days, just getting a deeper understanding what this inattentiveness means. Yes, a whole big thing. So, of course, here we only have a bit more than an hour or something. And I do want to do a chanting exercise with you. So even if you did not bring your beads, this doesn't matter. You can chant without beads. So I want to chant 1 round with you, and I will give us a little task how we are meant to chant. Yeah, so basically we can say this inattentiveness takes place on 3 levels. On the level of the body, on the level of the mind, and what's the third one? On the level of the heart. Exactly. Good. Yes, so body, mind, and heart. So, and this inattentiveness we are allowing to creep in. This is really the root cause of our inability to actually make more quickly advancement, because we are chanting so inattentively. So let us briefly have a look at inattentiveness on the level of the body. It basically means chanting while doing something else. The list is long. There's unlimited versions of what we can do while chanting. You know, for example, we chant while going shopping on the market, looking for this and that, or while we talk with somebody. You know, 2 devotees meet, both people have their hand in the bead bag. So one person says something, and while that one person says something, the other person squeezes a few mantras in. So then the other person answers, and then we squeeze a few mantras in. And if the person gives a long answer, oh, well, then we can squeeze quite a few mantras in. So like that, it goes back and forwards, you know. Or chanting while doing something on the phone. This is probably the most common version. And we may even think, oh, this is Krishna's mercy for Kali Yuga, that we have this finger here, you know. We can scroll up and down our phone there and type a few messages, and how practical, you know. Yes. So, and what else do we have? Chanting while watching something on the screen, even if it is the Rath Yatra in London or whatever it may be. Still, it's inattentive chanting. We can only do one thing, either chanting or watching something. And then there's also chanting in public transport. This is also, after our exercise, we will realize that it's actually impossible to chant in public attentively, because we always have to worry what are people thinking around us, Actually, once one devotee in Ukraine, he told me this funny story. He was traveling on the train and he was trying to chant his rounds. And opposite him, there was sitting some non-devotees. So he was carefully trying to hide the fact that he was chanting, putting his hand there and just, chanting very quietly like that. So then he heard how the people opposite him, they had a whole discussion. And one fellow was saying to the other, oh, look at this little bag he has. I wonder what that is all about, And then the other one says, yeah, and you see something is moving inside there, Oh, yes, something is moving. And then the other one says, and yes, can you hear this? And then the other one says, yes, it sounds like some birds twittering, some little birds. So then the conclusion was, yeah, he must have some little birds in this bag and they're moving and twiddling around, So true story. So if you have people such ignorance sitting around you, how can you change, feelingly out to push? Not possible. You always have to worry, what is everybody thinking, And one devotee once told me that he was chanting at the airport gate, just walking up and down, waiting for his flight. And believe it or not, they didn't let him on the plane. They thought that he was psyching himself up for some suicide bombing attack, that he would blow up the plane or something. And he had to fly the next day. They wouldn't let him on the plane. So all kinds of amazing things can happen, when you chant in public and people don't know what the hell are you doing. Yeah, so pretty difficult to chant attentively. So basically behind this inattentive chanting on the level of the body, there is this mood of trying to maximize our time, right? That, yes, I want to listen to the class, but I have these rounds also. Okay, let me sit in the back there and I listen to the class and at the same time chant my rounds and get them done, right? But that is inattentive chanting. We can only do one thing, either chanting or sitting in the class. Yes. Or the mood is that we try and pass this boring japa time in a more pleasant way by going for some nice jolly walks and looking at the birds and the bees and the sunshine and the flowers, And yeah. Or we sit on our computer and we look at all different darshans all over the planet. Let's have a look what Mayapur darshan is today, and the Vrindavan darshan, and the London darshan, and this darshan, and that darshan. And we just try to pass the boring japa time in a more entertaining way, right? By looking at all different things there, And we might think, oh, well, I'm looking at the deities. What's wrong with that, But it depends in what mood we look at the deities, whether we are really looking at one picture and we are prayerfully calling out to the Lord, or whether we are just entertaining ourselves and distracting ourselves by looking at some nice pictures and just consuming some visual stimulations there, right? Yeah, so this kind of chanting will not give much result. Actually, let me ask you, is anybody in the habit of chanting on a clicker, a counter? Yes. Well, I hope after this session you will throw it in the next river there. Get rid of it. Swaha, let's throw it out. Because, this chanting on the clicker is probably the most definite and surest way to cultivate inattentive chanting. Yes. Because you don't even have to finish one round. You can just click a few times here and click a few times there with the left hand, with the right hand, with the dirty hand. Doesn't matter. It's all stainless steel. This is nonsense. It's complete nonsense. And believe it or not, I was once, again in Ukraine, I was giving a lecture, and there I usually speak sentence by sentence translator with a translator, because hardly anybody speaks English. So, and while I was speaking, I could hear some clicking noise. And I was looking around, where is this coming from? And then I saw my translator. She was chanting on the clicker while I was speaking. Wow, that's really multitasking, Well, we women are pretty good at multitasking, so it was a female translator. I couldn't believe it, but she didn't make any sound. Of course, she was chanting topmost level, like Haridas Thakur, on the level of the mind, Nonsense, I'm just joking. Oh, yes. Yeah, no, this is nonsense, I couldn't believe it. My God, While I was speaking, that was her japa time. Yeah. Anyway, so much about the level of inattentiveness on the level of the body. So now the mind. Well, I think we all know the mind likes to make plans, right? Planning the shopping list and the next preaching program and this and that, where to go on a holiday and yeah, so we can just, the mind can take us on a whole journey around the universe while we're chanting, and we use the japa time for a plan making session. Sometimes people say, whenever I chant, I get the best ideas. It must be coming straight from Goloka Vrindavan. Right? Yes, but no, sorry, it's inattentive chanting, nothing else but that. Yes. So, and also interesting, tomorrow we have the last program. There we will talk about the false ego. I actually wanted to talk today about false ego, but then I saw tomorrow they even made a leaflet and everything was false ego. So I thought, okay, good that I see this, so let's have the false ego topic tomorrow. But once we get a little more familiar how the false ego affects us, we actually start realizing that when during our japa time, when our mind keeps us busy, behind the mind is actually the false ego. And the false ego uses the mind as a tool to get its satisfaction. So yeah, once you're a little more perceptive with these subtleties, you realize that no, it's not just the mind. Behind the mind is the false ego. So for example, if we find ourselves in a situation where the same thing is going in circles in our mind, right? And we can't drop it. Some monologues, dialogues, there's that. Yeah, you know that situation? Yes. So that always is a sure sign that the false ego is harassing us. Definitely. Yeah, so it's not so much the mind, it's actually the false ego, and the false ego uses the mind and also the intelligence as tools. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Or if we had some agitating experience and we're still working it out, and it's going around in circles. Or we got some disturbing email and we're wondering, what are we going to answer? And going in circles. So yeah, false ego is pretty expert in giving us so many troubles, torturing us. And actually, any of you are coming to the Sadhu Sangha retreat? Yes. So there we will have Satchidananda Swami Maharaj. I just met him in Simhachalam in Germany for Vishinga Chaturdasi. So he gives also a holy name retreat. And he always explains that we should not get caught up in a boxing match with the mind. Yes, because very often we hear this question of what do we do if the mind is distracting us, and taking us away. So then the answer is usually pull back the mind and hear, which is of course true, it's good, but it's not everything. If we leave it at that, just pulling the mind back in here, then very easily we end up in a boxing match with the mind. But the answer is actually we have to involve the heart. We will come to this in a minute. So this boxing match with the mind will not get us anywhere. We can do this for many years, if not lifetimes. Mind carries us away. All right, we pull it back in here, and then for 2 or 3 mantras we may be concentrating, and then boom, the mind goes again, and like that it goes on and on and on. But sometimes people, they have these tricks. They like to stare at a Maha Mantra card, at the writing of the Maha Mantra. Well, if it works for you to involve the heart, okay, let it be. But it's not really bringing the holy name to the level of the heart. That's what we have to do. The whole process of devotional life is meant to transform the heart. But it will only do that when the heart is involved, when we change. Otherwise, it's not going to do anything to the heart. Yes. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was saying, make your chanting heart deep, not just lip deep. Yes. Not just lip deep. Make it heart deep. Yeah, so now this inattentiveness on the level of the heart. Let us understand what that means. Well, let me put it this way. We may have heard Prabhupada's analogy, how we are meant to chant. He gave us a very simple and yet profound analogy that we should chant like a what? Not you probably know. So what about the others? How are we meant to chant? We are meant to chant like a something, doing something, something. You know? No. Nobody knows? Come on. I've said it so many times. But you know probably, huh? Yes. Yes, we are meant to chant like a child, crying out in desperation and helplessness for his mother. That's how we are meant to chant. But are we chanting like this? No, we are not. Definitely not. And interestingly, a child crying in desperation for his mother does not have the problem of a wandering mind. Right? The child will not say, this is strange. Every time I cry for my mother, I'm thinking of so many other things, who to play with and what to play and where to play, right? No, child does not have that problem because there is no room in the child's mind for any other thought except, where is my mother? I need her right now. Yes. So, and this already, this simple little analogy gives this answer. You know, what is the solution to the wandering mind? It is to involve the heart. That's the solution. Not all these other tricks of staring at a mantra card or whatever people do, you know. Yes, it's to involve the heart, to scratch together some feeling in the heart and calling out to Krishna in helplessness. That's how we are meant to chant. Yes. So, and let us understand, why is it not so easy for us to chant like that, crying out in helplessness? What is stopping us? What's stopping us?
That's getting carried from the news.
Huh? What?
Conscious.
Conscious? Now, what is stopping us? What's blocking us from crying out in helplessness?
Our conditioning.
Okay, somebody is saying something there. Can you also switch on your video so I can see your smiling face?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for joining us.
Thank you.
Our conditioning, yeah, well, a little.
Weak mind.
Weak mind, no. It's not really hitting the nail on the head. Well, you know, what is stopping us from feeling helpless?
We are not depending on.
Yeah, so why? False ego, pride. You know, because we think we are pretty cool. We've got it all down. We've got our life under control. You know, yes. So it's basically our pride and false ego. So that's why Mahaprabhu says, Chinada Pisunichina, you know, that only if we are more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, only then we can actually really chant the holy name. And there is an interesting purport in the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada says that, you know, he says, when we are situated in material satisfaction, then we cannot chant the holy name in quality. So that's good for us to know here in Chicago. I think here in Chicago and the US in general, we have quite a bit of material satisfaction, don't we? Yes. So material satisfaction is actually dangerous for spiritual development, because material satisfaction, how can you call out in helplessness? Not possible, you know? Material satisfaction leads to complacency and, you know, being comfortably situated. Yeah, life is not so bad. Why being so negative? It's all so nice. I've got my nice house and my bank balance and my car and my family, and everything is going really great. You know? So with that mood, how can we call out in helplessness? Like last year, I was doing a tour around Australia and New Zealand. So in Australia, oh yeah, you lived in Australia, right? So in Australia, every second sentence is, no worries, mate. No worries, mate. No worries, mate. She'll be all right, mate. No worries, mate. You remember that?
Yes.
So with a no worries, mate attitude, how can we call out in helplessness? Not possible, Yeah, so I think this is pretty important to understand that this material satisfaction may very well be an obstacle in our spiritual advancement. And aren't we all striving for material satisfaction? Oh, we do. Yes. Yeah. And Prabhupada even goes so far in that same purport. It's 1/8/24/26, Queen Kunti praying for the calamities. And there Prabhupada makes a statement that the 4 principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, and bodily beauty, there are, so to speak, disqualifications for making progress in spiritual life. Because these opulences, what do? They lead to pride, yes. Oh, I'm from such an aristocratic family. Oh, my caste, very high caste, and right? And then, oh, I have such high education, PhD, professor, this, that, and I have such good wealth. Look at my big castle, I've built for myself, and look at my bodily beauty, Yeah, all these opulences, unfortunately, they lead to pride. And proud person cannot call out in helplessness to Krishna. And I mean, I am traveling a lot in 4 countries, Eastern Europe. Before the war started, I spent a lot of time in Ukraine. So Ukraine, even before the war, was very simple life, very low level of standard of life. I remember that some devotees, they didn't have a bathroom in their house. They had a dry toilet in the garden, little wooden house at -30 in wintertime, -30 degrees Celsius. You have Fahrenheit here. I don't know how much that is. But anyway, they had to go out and visit that toilet. Yeah. So not much material satisfaction and comfort. And so many devotees, I think. You can really see proportionally to that standard of life being low, proportionally you have more devotees than all those countries where life is very comfortable and flashy. Not so many devotees. Yeah, because it's simply easier to understand that, sense gratification is not the all-in-all goal in life. If you don't have much money in your pocket to enjoy life, then people turn more easily towards spiritual practice. But in countries where standard of life is very high, there people are just thinking of making more and more money and how they enjoy their money and how they protect their money, and and there's just not much room for spiritual practice. Yeah, so good to understand these connections. Should be a warning to us. Of course, a very elevated devotee can also have so many material assets and opulences, and he will realize they are given by Krishna, and Krishna can take them at any time away. They're actually not mine, and I'm simply borrowing from Krishna so I can offer something in his service. Right? Yes. So we are meant to call out feelingly. Somebody knocking there. They're just coming in time for the chanting exercise we want to do now. Yeah, so I would like to try this with you, that for one round, let's wait until whoever comes. Huh?
Children.
Oh, it's the kids. Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. So we want to do some chanting exercise now. And if you have your beads with you, you can chant on your beads, but no need to run away now to the car to get your beads. No need to run away. Yes. Not further than that. Yeah, so we want to chant one round, everybody at their own pace. And we want to exactly try that deep within the heart, we mindfully turn to Krishna and we feelingly call out to him. Krishna, I know you're there. Please accept me. Longing for the relationship. Yes. Yeah, we want to try that we chant and we fill our chanting with longing for the relationship, really feelingly addressing the Lord. All right? Okay, exercise is clear. So I have to warn you, I take 10 minutes for one round. So you may finish earlier than I do, but I hope you will allow me to also finish my round. So yes, let's try and do that. And we can also close our eyes, then we can concentrate more, because the eyes are actually the sense perception which distracts us the easiest, right? But when we close our eyes, we are less distracted, and then we can also put more concentration on the hearing of the sound. Okay, good. So let us try. Okay, to Premanandi, Hari Bol. So, how did you go? Did you think it was easy? No. I'm glad you say no. If you had said yes, I would say, what are you doing in the material world then? No, it's not easy at all. You know, even sitting here in our Bhajan Kutir, hearing about the holy name, not easy. What to speak of going for some jolly walks and looking at the birds and the bees, or going shopping, or whatever kind of inattentive chanting we're doing. Impossible. Yes. So that's the whole thing, that we very easily, we can actually miss the target in Krishna consciousness. We can completely leave Krishna out of the picture. Yes. We can keep ourselves so busy running around, doing so many things, so many ambitious plans and projects and services and. But hey, what are we doing for our relationship with Krishna? Are we doing anything for that? So it's while we chant that we do something for this relationship. But only if we chant mindfully, turning to Krishna, feelingly call out to him, longing for the relationship. Only that kind of chanting will do something for our relationship. Or this other chanting, where we don't turn to Krishna, it will not do anything for our relationship with Krishna. Nothing. Yes. And it's actually very simple and logical. If we spend every day 2.5 hours, whatever it takes to chant our rounds, and we are endeavoring to turn to Krishna, calling out to him, obviously something will happen in that relationship with Krishna, right? It will become more tangible reality. Yes. But if we just we're blabbering something down, just mechanical, just duty, getting the rounds done. If our joy comes from, thank God I finished, then obviously our joy is not coming from the holy name. Yes. And if we chant like that, well, then we get what we want. We just want to get the rounds done and not more than that. Yeah, so now one thing, again, His Holiness Satchidananda Swami Maharaj, he likes to call this kind of chanting, where we don't turn mindfully to Krishna, he calls this empty medicine capsule. Yes, empty capsule. So it's not tablet, it's capsule. Often they're made from gelatin, but you can also get vegetarian capsules. And you can open these capsules, and usually there should be some medicine inside, right? But there's also the empty capsule with no medicine, and therefore no effect. From outside, it looks like the real thing, but no effect. So that's a nice analogy, understanding the uselessness of this inattentive chanting, thinking of so many things, doing other things. This is useless. Empty capsule. And I mean, I have to admit, probably the first 20 years of my devotional life, I definitely was taking empty capsules. I never heard anything about these things. Nobody was talking about these things in those days. Yes. So that's why I like to conduct holy name retreats, because I hope I can save other people's time. But they don't waste 20 years of their life. Well, not wasting, but spending 20 years of their life. Oh, yes, we can also call it wasting. And I remember once we had a holy name retreat in Bangalore, and we were renting some conference center, some marriage place there, which we usually book for weddings. And there was quite a few senior devotees there who had been around for 30 years or something. And when they heard about the empty capsule, they seriously got upset and angry. They felt cheated. Why am I only hearing this now after so many years of, so-called chanting? What is this? They were really upset, Yeah. So that's how we can feel, when we hear these things for the first time. And we think, oh my God, I've had in Ekachakra, I had many Prabhupada disciples joining the retreat, because spending some time in Ekachakra makes it attractive. And some of them with tears in their eyes, they were sharing. Now I realize for the last 45 years, I have been doing something else. I have not been chanting the holy name. Yes. Mhm. Yeah, so this chanting is a very deep science and secret, and we have to make some endeavor. And by the way, the same principles are also there for kirtan. So kirtan, we also have the 3 levels of inattentiveness: body, mind, and heart. Body doing so many other things while we are in the kirtan. We talk to our neighbor, we get our phone out, and you know, or we're thinking of so many other things, making plans, and the mind is wondering, oh, when this is finally finishing, and. Or the heart not being involved, not feeling the call out to Krishna when we chant in kirtan. So even in kirtan, we are also meant to cry out like a child in helplessness for his mother, actually. Yes. So what makes a kirtan a powerful kirtan is when the kirtan leader connects with Krishna when he sings. If that's not there, empty capsule, simply nice music, but not more than that. Yeah. So we have to feelingly call out to the Lord in japa as well as in kirtan. And I had this realization very strongly some years ago when His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj had his stroke and he was in coma for 10 or 12 days or something. And at the time I was in Bangladesh, and most of ISKCON Bangladesh is Jayapataka Maharaj's disciples. So when this news came out, whole Bangladesh was mortified, people were shocked. Oh my God. So we immediately started 24-hour kirtans in all the temples. And these kirtans, they were the best kirtans I've ever attended because they were chanted in this mood of hopelessness. Yes. I remember sometime the kirtan leader literally was crying. Put something in my back here to get a bit more comfortable. Yeah, so that's better. The kirtan, that's all. The kirtan leader was literally crying, when leading the kirtan, while leading the kirtan, really crying in desperation, crying. So in that situation, it's not the right mood for showing off, right? When you pray for your guru to survive, you don't feel like showing off your musical talents, right? Yes. So that those kirtans, they had a different quality and mood to them. And then it was interesting to observe as Maharaj's health was getting more stable, devotees were relaxing. Looks like Maharaj will stay with us for a little longer. Okay, so let's relax. It looks like it's not so serious. So, and then the showing off mood was creeping in again. And the whole atmosphere of the kirtan changed again. That was interesting to observe. Yeah, so this empty capsule is not only there in japa, but also in kirtan. So kirtan is not just some musical performance where we show off our expertise and our nice voice and this and that, but no, it's a whole transcendental affair where we connect with Krishna. So let me see if we have any questions. Okay. So what's your question? I can only hear half of what you're saying. Can you repeat this? Can you be her microphone?
Yeah. So she's saying, what if our mind do not want to hear while chanting? And what if
What if our mind doesn't listen to us and we don't chant what we want?
mind do not listen to the chanting, though I want to hear the chanting? What should I do?
Well, we just talked about it, didn't we? So what's the answer? You remember? Huh? Involve the heart. Very true. Excellent. Yes. Scratch together some mood of helplessness and desperation. That's the answer. Not so easy. Calling out, Krishna, I need you. I want you. I want to be with you. I want to serve you. Longing for Krishna. That's the answer. Then the mind becomes more peaceful. The mind will be drawn to the heart. Okay, what else do we have?
Mataji, about the speed of chanting. Some people
Speed.
say, oh, we are chanting in 5 minutes. Some will say, okay, I'm chanting in 10 minutes. So I take long time.
Yes, me too. I mean, when I started chanting, I was chanting in 7 minutes one round. But some people were sometimes saying to me, oh, I think you're skipping some syllables. So, and then when I started doing holy name retreats, my chanting became slower. Now I can't even do it faster than 10 minutes. But also my coordination with my tongue and mouth is just not so fast. You know, some people, they can talk so fast, but I just can't do it, you know. So, but see, the speed is not the main thing. Whether it's slow. I mean, if it is too slow, sometimes people chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So no, there has to be a little bit of intensity there. You know, if it is too slow, I mean, what kind of crying out is that, you know? So there has to be some intensity there, you know? And the main thing is that we pronounce the syllables properly and not swallow half of it. So, I mean, if people say that they chant, you know, 16 rounds in 1 hour or something, it sounds a little suspicious, you know. Or people maybe move the beats, you know, 2 beats for each mantra or something. Yeah, so that's another version of inattentiveness, you know, if we don't pronounce properly, or we move the beats too fast, or we chant 3 mantras on 1 beat, also not the right thing, you know. So yeah, it requires some attentiveness. You know? But it's not that there is some strict rule how many minutes it should take. It's an individual thing, you know. Some people can just move their tongues faster and some don't. But I mean, Prabhupada's chanting was also pretty clear and slow, you know.
So, but all kinds of like time is there in Prabhupada chanting. 7 minutes, 15 seconds, 5 minutes, like that.
What, you timed it, did you?
No, on videos, lots of videos are available.
There it says how much
Yeah, it
time
says
Prabhupada takes for the 1 round.
7 minutes, 15 seconds.
Does it? Okay. I haven't researched that, though, I have to admit. Anyway, whatever it may be, you know. So as I'm saying, there's no hard and fast rules. It's an individual thing. Main thing is we pronounce properly the Maha Mantra. And the main thing is we involve the heart. It's not some race, the quicker the better or something, you know. Yeah. Main thing is we have to bring the holy name to the level of the heart, make our chanting happy. Yes.
You talked about the material satisfaction that it brings the pride and hampers the chanting.
Yeah.
So do we need to be austere or like do we need to renounce for some time until we get the bhakti or how do I open this thing?
And do we have to renounce for some time? Well, you know, the Grihastha ashram is not meant for renunciation as such, you know. Ideally, we should go through the ashrams one by one. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanapasa. So I was Brahmacharini for 4 years, then Grihastha for 10 years, and then renounce. So it's good if we get a chance. Right? So, but you know, in Grihastha life, Prabhupada gave us this formula of living simple. Simple living. And that is a challenge. You know? Most people, they want some flashy, fancy lifestyle with 2 cars, big house, you know, sometimes in 2 houses, 1 investment, 1 for living. So then they, of course, they have to work like asses to pay it all off, you know, and then there's not much time for chanting, you know. And you may get proud, oh, I've got 2 cars, so it's not only 1, you know. So it's not that we have to give up things and renounce. We should only give up those things which create impediments, which are not favorable for Krishna consciousness. That's what Rupa Goswami tells us. Those we should give up. But we should try and keep our life simple. You know? And I don't know if you know Bhakti Vasamrita Maharaj. Yeah, very nice personality. He's one of my board members on my little institute. And I once coordinated some program about Grihastha life, and I asked him to speak about the topic of simple living. And he was making this funny little joke. He was saying, simple living means when you buy something, you ask yourself 3 questions. Question number 1, do I really need this? Question number 2, do I really, really need this? Question number 3, do I really, really, really need this? So that's what it means, simple living. And if we do this, and we really, 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 really answer whether we really, really, really need this, then most likely we have to admit that we don't need it. Right? Yes. Yes. I mean, I'm noticing this more and more how little one needs, actually, you know. Because now when I travel, half my suitcase is full of books. You know? So you actually need so little things, you know. It's just a handful of things you need. Yes. Of course, when you have children and all that, you need a bit more, you need some reserves and this and that. But yeah, I mean, Grihastha life, people accumulate so much stuff, which is actually not necessary. So much money is wasted on things, you know. Yes. So that's more the problem, you know, that for us, very difficult to keep life simple. We don't even know what it means to keep life simple. We have to go to Bangladesh, then we see what it means to keep a simple life. People are so happy there. You know? Yes, the village is very simple. So happy.
Depends.
Correct. Now let him answer. Let's follow the Vaishnava etiquette. Seniors come first.
So, Mataji, I'm just trying to understand when you spoke about entering mind can be an obstruction, and you said
What is obstruction?
mind can become an obstruction, especially false ego is behind the mind.
Yeah, the false ego
harassing us.
uses the mind and intelligence as tools.
Yes,
Yeah.
you said it is harassing the mind.
Mm.
And I'm just trying to still understand, mind is getting harassed by false ego while chanting.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only assume that if I had a bad situation, bad relation, a fight or something like that, probably
Well, there's always something, There's always something that provokes our false ego.
provokes the false.
Yes. So, and then the false ego uses the mind and intelligence as tools to get the satisfaction which it is hankering for.
So it will take the mind under the control, the false ego.
Yeah. See, we have to understand, like the gross body is made from earth, water, fire, air, ether. So now you show me, where is the earth here? Where is the water here? Where is the fire here? It's all mixed. You cannot separate. Right? So a similar thing is in the subtle body too. Mind, intelligence, false ego, they're so mixed and entwined. You cannot actually really separate them because they affect each other backwards and forwards. False ego affects the mind, and the mind affects intelligence, and then the contaminated intelligence again affects the mind and affects the false ego. And it goes all back and forwards. Pretty hard to separate them.
So that will not allow one to chant properly.
Yeah.
False ego takes the priority to corrupt these two.
Yeah, I mean, the false ego is like the root cause, Tomorrow we'll talk about the false ego, thinking ourselves to be something which we are not. This false identification, that's almost like the root cause of material existence. Yes. That contaminates the mind and intelligence.
One more question. You want to speak?
No, go ahead.
So, like this feeling of helplessness.
Yes.
So it has to be natural from the heart. See, if I try to create it, I can get some intensity, but it has to be from the heart. So maybe I'm not giving priority to that relationship that, oh Krishna, I need you. Because for me, the other things are more important.
Exactly.
And I got those. So I'm happy with that. So this is just a formality because somebody told me, okay, you have to chant, you can chant.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe that relationship is not important for me right now.
Exactly. I mean, see, we are in such a habit of neglecting that relationship for so many lifetimes. So just by joining ISKCON and putting on tilak and neck beads, it doesn't mean all of a sudden, the relationship is there. No, it's a whole internal thing. We just continue ignoring Krishna, actually, because that's what we know. That's what we've been doing for so many lifetimes. I mean, we can almost say this relationship with Krishna is hardly at all established. And we see that in our fear of death, right? If our relationship with Krishna was established, we would not be fearful of death. Then death would be this glorious moment when we can finally go to Krishna, But we are very afraid. We want to stay here by hook or by crook just a little longer. So that shows directly that our relationship with Krishna is practically not established.
Well, not only that, there are many fears on daily basis. So that is very strong fear, but there are many small fears on daily basis.
Yeah, and I mean fears, calamities can help us to feel helpless. That's why Krishna arranges all kinds of calamities to help us feel helpless. because it's so important to cultivate that helplessness. So that's why, Krishna often arranges all kinds of things that we all of a sudden we are diagnosed with some terminal disease, or somebody in our family all of a sudden dies, or the war breaks out, or we lose everything in a flood or fire or whatever. So Krishna has his ways how to make us feel helpless. Yes. So we can change more feelingly. Yeah, so somehow we should cry out to Krishna. Like Gaur Govinda Maharaj was always saying, an ISKCON temple is a crying school where we learn to cry out to Krishna. That's actually the essence. And if we feel we can't really naturally cry out to Krishna, so then we can cry about that we can't cry out. But somehow we have to start crying out. But that crying also should be internal. It should not be some external crying show there, but it should be an internal thing, deep from within the heart. What else?
I have a couple of things.
Yes.
Now, involving the heart into chanting is something the most ideal solution. However, being a neophyte, mind, body, everything is disturbing, right? So, unless I come to that stage, there is no solution then. Or while one is at a neophyte stage, struggling with the mind, struggling with the body, you don't have the heart for Krishna yet. He's just started learning, crawling. So, what is the solution at that moment of time?
Well, first of all, we have to hear what to aim for. Yes, what we should aim for, right? Yes. So, and then when we have to stop engaging in these inattentive chanting versions, inattentiveness on the level of the body, we have to kick that out, because while we chant, while doing so many other things, there's no question of really turning to Krishna mindfully. So it's a matter of practice. See, these days, meditation is very popular. In big cities, almost on every street corner, you find some meditation place. So usually they're Mayavadis. But, I think we have to shamefully admit that they take their meditation so much more seriously than we do. When they meditate, or they sit down, they lock their room, sign on the door, don't disturb, I'm meditating. They put the Mayavadi meditation music on, the candle, and then they sit there and meditate. But what are we doing? We're walking around, we call that meditation. It's actually a joke. Yes. If we would train our devotees, like the Mayavadis are training their followers, how to actually chant, because interestingly, when we start chanting, we actually start on the level of Namabhas, because we are very respectful towards this process of chanting. Okay, let me hold the beads, and that's how I'm going to have to do it, and we really try our best. So that's Namabhas, actually, the clearing stage. And then we have two options: to go down to Namaparat and accept all these bad chanting habits, or we stay in Namabhas and work our way up. But I think we can say that most of us are taking version number one. We go down to Namaparat, we accept so many bad chanting habits, and then to get rid of them, that's a whole different struggle then. Yes. So it is a matter of practicing every day, again and again, because our problem is that we don't even know what is attentive chanting. We don't have any experience. We think what we do is chanting, So we have to give ourselves a chance to experience the difference. So we do that by at least some amount of rounds, that we chant them with undivided attention and really focusing and trying our best from the heart to call out, at least some amount of rounds. We may not be able to chant 16 rounds like that, but at least some 6, 8, 10, whatever. And all right, the rest of the rounds we chant inattentively as we've done for so many years, but at least some amount of rounds attentively. So, and that gives us a chance to experience the difference, And then we will naturally get disgusted with these inattentive rounds, because we realize they don't give any satisfaction, So, and then naturally the pile of attentive rounds will become bigger, because we will want to move more rounds into the attentive pile, like that. So it's a lifetime project,
Yes, sir. Now, on the flip side of that, when we say putting the heart into chanting, we also sometimes hear that the person may like the pastings of the Lord, he's attracted, his heart is attracted to the pastings of the Lord, and while chanting, probably, that's another side I'm saying, one may then think, oh, my heart is there, I'm thinking about Krishna.
No. See, Prabhupada was asked, and he was saying we should not, in our neophyte stage, try to remember different pastimes, Radha Krishna, this, that. No, our only business is turning to Krishna, calling out feelingly, and longing to serve. Bhakti Siddhanta was saying, chanting devoid of longing to serve is useless. Yes, because when we chant longing to serve, that actually establishes us in dasya. If we spend every day 2 hours chanting while longing to serve, then sooner or later the day will come when we get the point, I am servant. Right? Very simple and logical. So that's our only business. And then as the heart becomes purified from all the enjoying spirit, controlling spirit, all the designations, so then, all right, then Krishna may reveal more or something, But no need to, then we can easily become sadhus, trying to jump on a very highly elevated level there, imagining so many things.
I have 3 more, but I want to see more license.
Anybody else has some question? Yes?
Louder.
How do you convince our mind to chant?
How do we convince our mind
To chant for them.
to chant
Whenever.
whenever? What do you mean whenever? Anytime. Well, see, we have to distinguish our prescribed number of rounds. We should chant ideally at a regular time of the day, not just any time. But we, depending on our program, on our schedule during the day, we should have certain time which we reserve for chanting and only chanting and nothing else. So, and then while we go to school and while we do this and that, of course we can chant the Maha Mantra, but that's extra chanting. No need to count that. So our prescribed number of rounds, ideally we should chant them every day at the same time, very regularly. There's a lot of strength in being regulated. like that. Yes.
Bhakti, like if you're doing offensive chanting, like ineffective chanting, does it reduce our bhakti or like, how does it?
No, it's not reducing our bhakti, but we will not get a taste for chanting. Krishna will not reveal himself. You know, we will not feel so inspired to serve and read the Shastra. So we're simply missing out. Reducing bhakti means there is bhakti already and then it's reduced. But no, it will not even develop. Right? Yeah. So that's why it's a very important topic to make some endeavors to get on deeper levels of chanting. What else? Yes.
One question.
Okay. He hasn't asked anything yet.
Mataji, you explained about Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And in that, my question, Mataji, like when you are put into a difficult situation, your crying means I doubt that crying is only asking Krishna to save you from that trouble, or you really want Krishna. One way to look at it, Mataji. Other way I'm looking at it like I'm afraid actually. Krishna, don't give me problems. Because of that, I should chant you sincerely. Is there any other way like Krishna can help me chant his name nicely?
Yes, see, we should not chant the holy name so we don't have problems in life. That's a very material motivation. That's not what chanting is meant for. No, we chant the holy name to re-establish this lost and forgotten relationship. That's, you know, it doesn't matter how much trouble we have or not have. That's not what chanting is meant for. That's very fruitive, you know, that mentality. Oh, I chant so I have some pious, happy family life there, you know. No, that's the wrong motivation. Wrong motivation. And I mean, yeah, you're right. When we have faced some calamities, so our chanting may not be pure, but at least we're turning to Krishna and we're crying out. At least that. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
And then sooner or later, the time will come where we, you know, where we had enough and we just beg Krishna to just be allowed to come to him and join him and, you know, longing for the relationship, you know. If we had enough calamities in our life, maybe we'll get the point that this world is not meant to be a happy place and let's get out of here, you know. Yes.
So I have a related question with Guruji, where like when we have calamities, we should not be asking for help. Right. So that's the right thing to do. But let's say
No, hang on, we didn't say that.
well, because then it becomes selfish in that sense, right?
No, but at least we turn to Krishna and we call out.
Right.
I mean,
But
there's
not to take out-
there's so many stories in the Bhagavatam. Gajendra, you know, the elephant, when he was caught in the crocodile's mouth, he was calling out to the Lord, you know. So, yes. So, you know.
But then it's becoming selfish and materialistic. Right? Yeah.
No, not necessarily. We can just lament and say, Krishna, all I want is serve you. What am I doing in this crazy place? Please let me serve you. You know? Yes. Doesn't have to be selfish and materialistic. Of course, if we pray, oh, please, Krishna, take my cancer away, and please do this, and please do that, and so, you know, then it's maybe, you know, a bit materialistic.
So I had a question related to that.
Yeah.
So let's say we hear somebody we know
family has cancer or whatever, they are going through something.
Yeah.
So now can we say that, hey Krishna, I am going to chant this round for the benefit of them, and please take care of their misery. Is that okay or is that not?
It's not what we should be striving for. I mean, many people do this. See, we have to distinguish between praying for a person and chanting one round and giving the benefit to that person. I mean, already that mentality of chanting one round for the sake of getting some benefit, that is already fruitive. What to speak of transferring the benefit to another person? My God, what is this? You know? Yeah.
It's very predominantly going around.
Yeah, well, it's just the fruitive mentality. Of course, we can say, oh, well, at least people are chanting, you know. Even at Kartik time, when we offer the ghee lamp, sometimes I see people offering 5 ghee lamps, one for the mother and one for this person, that person. Hey, what is this? You know, we are offering the ghee lamp to develop our bhakti, to do something a little extra for the Lord, you know, with love and devotion. And you can't do that for somebody else. Too bad. Everybody has to do that themselves. You know? Yes. You know,
And
it's
for somebody else, they have to eat.
yes. Yes. So we can pray for a person, you know. We can pray, oh, this family is going through some hardship, you know, please, you know. But also there, the best kind of prayer is that we pray to be able to remember Krishna no matter what happens. You know, we should not just pray, oh, please Krishna solve that problem and this thing and don't make them suffer. No, please Krishna, give them whatever they may need to remember you. And maybe it is suffering, maybe it is cancer. You know, that should be the vision. Not that we have some peaceful, happy life here where we can enjoy it. We are not praying for that. You know, we pray whatever is necessary for us to turn to Krishna. You know, and call out to him willingly, longing for him. That's what we should be praying. I mean, Queen Kunti prays for the calamities to come again and again. Because in calamities we can see Krishna more tangibly. We turn to Krishna, we take shelter. You know? Yes.
Prabhu asked the question in that one follow-up, Mataji, like when he was praying for the other family who was suffering, right? So in that, like, can we add a statement in such a way that Krishna, please protect them and give the chance for them to remember you and chant your name. For that, give your protection.
Well, you can pray whatever you like, but best is to pray for the protection of the remembrance. You know, the body, how long will the body be protected? Sooner or later, the body falls apart. So that's not the topmost protection, just to protect the body. You know, much higher level of protection is to protect our remembrance.
Yes.
That will save us. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. What else?
So, sorry, I have 3 questions here. The young people, young children, they're more attracted to the kirtans. Now they want to do play, they wanted to be the first person in the temple to sing, you know, to play. They want to get a name and fame, but they don't like to chant. And if you ask, they say, chanting is boring. So where we should do, you know, in one sense, if I stop them, doing the kirtan in the temple, because they are only attracted to that, the young generation people, they feel offended. Oh, you are not inspiring us much. And a lot of back and forth. I mean, you know that, right? So this young generation has a lot of fanatic things going around. If you try to correct them, they are offended. You people are not inspiring us.
Well, we have to uplift them.
Exactly.
And we should explain to them that kirtan has to be based on good japa.
Good japa.
Yeah, because in japa we build individually that connection. Yes, kirtan offers so much more distraction. There's the melody and the instruments and the rhythm and the audience. So if we have not more deeply established the connection with Krishna in japa, then most likely in kirtan we will be distracted with the external aspects of kirtan. So good japa sets the foundation to powerful kirtan. So now what sets the foundation to good japa?
As you said, the helpless cry.
No, more considering our sadhana. Like japa is the foundation to kirtan. So what's the foundation to japa? Calling out.
Hearing,
Hearing, exactly. Reading Prabhupada's books, Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam, we get the Sambandha Gyan, the knowledge of who am I, who is Krishna, what is this whole world all about. So, and that Sambandha Gyan has to be deeply established in the heart. And then it becomes more natural to actually turn to Krishna. When we realize I have a loving relationship with the Lord and I have neglected that for so many lifetimes. If it is just Gyan, theoretical knowledge, will not do much, But Vigyan, realized knowledge, then it will be more spontaneous that we want to turn to Krishna, we want to put an end to this forgetfulness. It's actually described in Harinam Chintamani. So, yes, Prabhupada's books, Shravanam, reading, that sets the foundation to japa. And good japa sets the foundation to kirtan. So that's how the three belong together. So we have to train our people. Yes. We have to have some holy name Saturday where we don't just, sing, but we have to have a bit of philosophy, and really make them understand what chanting is all about.
And is it because as you said, the lead of a kirtanist, if he has no relation established with the holy name, it's like an empty capsule, as you said.
No, actually, empty capsule fills very easily with poison. There's also a poisonous capsule. So what's that?
such kirtan won't help anybody.
Well, what do we do in kirtan when it's poisonous capsule? Let's be concrete here. What do we do? You mentioned it before. What's the poison? Huh?
Pride, like showing off.
Showing off, exactly. Showing off. Using the holy name to show off. So, very simple. When the kirtan is empty capsule, when there's no connection there, then it's not satisfying to the heart. So, and then we look for some other satisfaction. We try and squeeze some satisfaction from showing off. Right? Yes. So that's how the empty capsule fills with poison. Yes. actually, for those who haven't seen the books yet, this False Ego book, explaining all these things there. There's a whole section about kirtan chanting, and because kirtan can be the scenario to feed our egos and show off, you know? Yes.
And especially with these kind of kids who are just growing up now. So naturally they may not have a taste for chanting, right? They may say it is boring, right? So how to protect those kind of children who are innocent or who are just used to.
Well, I mean, you know, a little bit of discipline should be there. So they should chant at least one round or something, depending on the kid. You know, so I know some kids, they're 10 years old and they chant 16 rounds, you know. Yes. But other kids, you know, find it hard to chant one round. But to chant one round, 10 minutes for Krishna, this, you know, we should put in our daily life. You know, and also it's a question of the parents setting the example that for them the chanting is important, you know. So if they take empty capsules and they chant while doing so many other things, so then of course our words will not have any power, you know. But if we take our chanting seriously and we can chant together with our children one round, you know. So then, you know, that habit should be introduced. And then when they're 15, 16, then it's up to them what they want to do, you know. Then we can't discipline anymore. But at younger age, a little bit of discipline should be there. I mean, not that we force them and, you know, and we all ambitious, oh, my child has to chant 16 rounds or something, not like that. But one round, you know, and we have to explain. So Krishna will be happy, you know, if we turn to him and call out to him, you know, this will be pleasing to Krishna, you know. So, yeah, we have to explain, you know.
She says she has some question. Like she just told me that I have some question. Then she said she already got an answer.
Okay, good.
Oh wait, how do I chat with distracted? Like
How to chant without getting distracted? We did, didn't we? What about you there?
Hare Krishna. In terms of reading and in terms of hearing and reading the books, are you allowed to like read one book after the other, or do you have to take time to like process one book and then go to the next, like maybe weeks after or months after before you like understand?
No, you can read one book after the other. You can even read several books parallel.
Because usually it's like stored in the bookshelf, but like I want to know if I can like move from one to the next, or I have to wait till.
No need to wait. I mean, we should process things not after we read it, but while we read it. Ideally, you know, that we should contemplate what we are reading. That's why the best kind of reading is actually when we read with somebody and we discuss. That is the best kind of reading. That's why Prabhupada introduced the Bhagavatam class, Bhagavad Gita class. You know, we just discuss one verse. You know, that deepens the whole processing. You know, so that would be best. Or we read and then we tell somebody what we read. You know, that's also good. But if that's also not possible, all right, then just read, you know. But try to be attentive while reading also, because we can be very inattentive while reading, you know. And then when we finish the page, we can't even remember what was on the top of the page, you know. So, yeah, we should try and be attentive when we read, you know. Yeah, but no need to wait in between the books, you know. And as I said, you can even read parallel several books. You can read like the Prabhupada Lilamrita, Prabhupada's biography, parallel to Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or something, you know, something lighter and something a bit more demanding, you know, no problem. What else?
I think one question on the reading the books. When we are reading the Bhagavatam, we should go in sequence, correct, Mataji? Or otherwise, like we can take one paskan or Quinquenty prayers or about Shingadev Bhagwan, or like that we can go by that specific chapters.
I mean, you can do like this or like that. You can read it systematically. But, you know, if the first canto is a bit too dry and theoretical, all right, then go to the pastime. You know, take one story, read that. Also okay. Actually, what is very good is if we have some reading groups. You know, even if it is over internet, you know, that is helpful. When you know, okay, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, you know, I'll meet with my friends over Zoom or WhatsApp and we just read for half an hour and discuss, you know. That is a good practice. What else? Yes.
And calamities or something bad is going on, then it's natural that we cry for Krishna. In our daily day-to-day life, this materialistic thing from morning to evening, how when we chant, we can get that same type of feeling that we can do attending chanting. If something happens, bad happens, definitely we cry. It's natural from our heart.
Yeah.
But day-to-day life, it's very like hard to cry. We just finish the chanting.
Well, you know, it's a matter of cultivation. You know, we have to cultivate that mood of crying out. Can somebody throw out these little tea leaves there for me so I have a clean glass? They were in my thermos. Yeah, I mean, we will see that some days it is easier to cry out feelingly, some days more difficult. Usually it becomes more difficult when we have too many issues on our minds, which we have to work out and all of that. You know, then the mind is occupied with those issues. So that's another reason why we should keep our life simple. Because if we keep our life simple, then there's less issues to work out. Okay. Thank you. And that's why it's also important to have, you know, a stable situation in our family life. You know, actually, there's some water bottles in there, right? Yes. Can I have one?
Yes, ma'am.
Just to mix my hot water with cool water. Yes, please. Put some water inside. Yeah, so when you can leave it there. So, hey, hang on, so I can take it. Put it there. Okay. Yeah, so you know that's why it's so important to have stability and harmony in our families. Because if there's a whole war going on and all these arguments and divorce and this and that, then how can we concentrate properly on chanting? You know? Yes. So, you know, a healthy and strong family life sets a good foundation to spiritual practice. You know? Yes, and otherwise it's just a matter of cultivation. Every day trying again. I mean, ultimately, if we are actually humble and we really look within our hearts, we have plenty of reasons to cry out. Right? Yes.
Take them, think, yes.
Yes, there's so many anatas there, so many unwanted qualities, and we've got all good reasons to actually cry out. But because of our pride, we don't see them and we think we are really cool and doing well. Yes. Yes.
So, Mataji, you told about high parentage, Kunti Maharani's prayer, right? So, I'm just thinking, high parentage, I want to understand what is the exact definition of that. And if the parents are at very good aristocratic family and they will make the children study at that high level for natural, right? So then how should we understand that high parentage? I mean, it naturally happens, high parentage, right? So is that a wealthy person should not bring the children at the level what he is? Is that what it means? Not giving up parentage?
No, I mean, see, high parentage. I'm just thinking now about the term. Does it say, I didn't bring my verse book. Does it say high parentage? Or does it say?
Yes, it says high parentage.
Does it say high parentage?
Yes, high parentage.
I mean, the way I understand it simply means a certain aristocratic family line. Like in India, you have all these gotchas, and people have some pride. Oh, I'm a Bila family, and I'm this thing and that thing. That's what I'm understanding. Right?
So the children should not have that feeling.
No, see, the children, they take birth in some family line, So it's not that the children should not take birth in that family. No, let them take birth in the family. But there should not be this whole hype and this whole pride about it that, oh, we are different and we are special and this and that. Yeah. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't be good parents.
We should teach them the reality and the
Yes. So we come from I come from a pretty aristocratic family, but my parents were smart enough to really not put so much emphasis on it. Yeah. We were the richest family in the block, but we were kept so simple. My father was driving the oldest car you could imagine. Yeah. My parents were never showing that we had money. Yeah, we were always getting simple clothing. I had to wear the hand-me-downs for my sister and all this. It's very simple, even though my parents were very wealthy people and aristocratic family, famous family. I have some, ancestors who were famous architects. Yes. The street names named after them. Yeah, in Berlin, all the old buildings were designed by him. He was an artist and architect, So I'm in that family line. But parents were never making some fuss out of it,
That's a great fortune. Otherwise,
yes.
It is very tough, that the children's minds gets into those things. Taking it away is very tough.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a whole different topic now, how to bring up children. But my parents, so many things we were not allowed to have. we were not allowed to have Coca-Cola and all the Mickey Mouse and all this stuff. Even Barbie dolls. Oh, my mother hated them. She was an artist. So many things. I grew up without television. We didn't have TV. That was the latest technology in those days. Everybody had TV except us, And my parents were always saying, we don't need these things. We are different. And I often wish that our devotees would say this to their kids. We don't need all this junk. We are different. Yeah, so that's how I grew up. We are different. We don't need all this stuff. Yeah. Even though there's aristocratic family there. So yeah, my parents, they spent their money on traveling. When I was 10, my family was my brother and sister and myself. We were traveling for 1 year around Africa. Oh, I missed school for 1 year. What? So I grew up traveling. So for me, very natural to travel,
Now you're using that for
Yes. So they were trying to really spend their money in a thoughtful way, sending us for some pupil exchanges to France and England and this and that. And yeah, lots of travels, yeah. Just to see the world and all that, And music lessons and stuff like that. Yes. All right, what else?
One question is like when there is a calamities, yes, we are going to Krishna and we are crying and we are praying. And how we can use this gratitude, the same thing when we are gratitude for Krishna, because he is the one given all the blessings. So whatever we are living happily means his blessings. So how we can use this gratitude to bring that crying?
Well, gratitude is also connected to humility. I like to see humility like a primary quality, and that manifests in secondary qualities. Like we can say humility manifests in gratitude, in tolerance, in patience. They can be seen as secondary qualities to humility. Right? So a humble person will always be grateful, whatever little he or she may have, but proud person will never be grateful. So ultimately it is a question of gratitude, of humility. And also having that spiritual vision on life, that really any ability, any talent, all comes from Krishna. And at any time, whatever he gives us, he can withdraw it, and he does. That we fall flat on our back, can't do anything, whatever, Yeah, takes it all away overnight. So, so the more we develop spiritual vision on life, which also comes from chanting. If we chant more deeply, then that spiritualizes our outlook on life. So and then we realize more and more that whatever little we have comes from Krishna, and we are simply borrowing from Krishna so that we have something to offer to him. Otherwise, what can we offer him? So he's lending us something so we can offer it to him. So, but that vision requires some spiritual outlook on life, All right, 8:45. I think we'll leave it at that. We all have to work tomorrow again. Is there anybody who hasn't seen these books yet? Huh?
Spiritual culture I've seen in your last.
Oh, yeah. Did you get that book then?
Yes.
Okay, good. You ordered it?
Yeah, because while we were on the trip, it was out of order. So we placed the order and waited for 2 months to get it.
For
Yeah.
2 months?
Yeah.
2 months?
Yeah, it took 2 months almost. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now it goes faster. That time they came from Ukraine. Yeah, I was printing in Ukraine. And from Ukraine, sometimes it took a long time. But 2 months, wow.
And maybe it's exaggerating it.
Yeah.
1 month.
One of those Hare Krishna exaggerations, right? Anyway, here, sheltering relationships. The blue one, dark blue. That is a really important topic. It's all about the importance of having a mentor, a counselor, a coach. That just having a Diksha guru, not enough. Our gurus have hundreds and thousands of disciples. They cannot possibly see each and every disciple's individual situation. So we need somebody on a more regular basis who can help us to balance our spiritual life with our material needs, who can point out how we move forward. It's a very individual thing, the next step forward is different for everybody, We're all at a different situation and different phase in life. And so, yeah, unless we have such a person who can show us how to move forward, then very often we stay in our comfort zone and we become stagnant. And then we can come for 30 years every Sunday to the Sunday program, but nothing much happens in our life, in our heart. So having a mentor is of the highest importance. So after you read this book, you will be convinced that without having a mentor and eventually becoming one to others, we actually cannot make advancement. And there's also the topic of envy in it, which we discussed yesterday at the Sunday feast class, how envy manifests towards seniors, equals, juniors, and the culture of correcting others, the culture of respect. Our spiritual life is based on a culture of respect, whereas sense gratification is based on a culture of disrespect, because you use others for your enjoyment. Yes. So respect is going more and more down the drain. And that is a problem for our spiritual practice, and also passing down, like you were mentioning, the youth often doesn't want to hear. It's because of disrespect. When disrespect becomes prominent, then the elders, the seniors, they can't pass anything down. They can't pass down the values, the traditions, the knowledge, the instructions. And then every young generation introduces all their Kali Yuga ideas, and the whole process of Bhakti gets watered down. Yeah, it's a serious thing, serious concern. So all these topics are in the sheltering relationships. So then, the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. I had a lot of good feedback to that book, and I can say it helped me a lot to detect how my false ego gets into my way and pushes me to say and do things which I shouldn't say and do. And there's a whole chapter on chanting, what we discussed today, empty capsule, poisonous capsule, it's all in that book, and so much more, which we didn't discuss. Because the chanting is very instrumental in dissolving the false ego. Or, kirtan can be the forum to show off poisonous capsule. Serious topic. And then last but not least, entering the Grihastha Ashram, it's like a handbook for matchmaking. As a parent, we have to know what it means to find a compatible partner for our children. It's the father's duty, to get the children married. So in these days in India, people only look at caste, family line, and economics, that they are the main considerations, or the devotional considerations people don't even look at. And also it is helpful for people who are married already, but maybe their married life is not Grihastha Ashram. They haven't entered the Grihastha Ashram yet. They may be married, but that's two different things, to be married or to have entered the Grihastha Ashram. So there's a lot about the different mindsets and approach and visions on family life if we want to make it an ashram. So if anybody wants to get books, today, tomorrow is your last chance. Wednesday I'm leaving. And these two are $20 each, and these ones are $15 each. And for those who don't know the first one, Spiritual Culture, did you read it?
I listened to another devotee, Mataji, in Canada when I was traveling.
Oh, you did. Yeah, no, because it's a very interesting topic. It's about all this gender confusion, which is really taking over the world and taking things to a bizarre, form. All these social genders that people can choose from, and oh my God, Yeah. So the book clearly gives insights that men and women are very different. They have very different natures, very different qualities, because according to Krishna's recommendation, they're meant to play certain roles. Yes. And it's very fascinating to detect, to discover, how Krishna puts the perfect natures and qualities into the two different genders, just so they want to play certain roles, so that everything is nicely taken care of. Yeah, and you realize that this man-woman equality puts the whole human society upside down. It's quite mind-blowing, you read it. Yes. Quite mind-blowing. It was a conscious plan. Yes, Prabhupada could see it all. Old man from India could understand it all at one glance. Yes, and there's so many quotes in the Bhagavatam, it's all based, all the books are based on Prabhupada's books, but also different conversations, lectures, and You've got a question about the man-woman equality, is it?
Yeah, I have a friend that's like she didn't identify with what she was given at birth. Is that because of today's society that she's with that, or is that something she doesn't really know who she is as a person, so she's trying to change herself to accommodate for these type of stuff? What's the reason?
Tell her she should just wait for next life, then she can have the other gender, No, I mean, there can be several reasons. One of them being that most likely in our previous life, we had the other gender. So, and that's why actually in spiritual culture, the boys and the girls, right from young age, they're trained, how to act as boys, how to act as girls. It took me quite a long time to realize this. In India, you see the young girls, they're all dressed up and this. And I was always thinking, God, why are they dressing up these young girls and putting them on the bodily platform and all this? But no, the understanding is the young girls should be trained from young age how to behave and how to play their role as women. Yes, because we women are meant to bring color and beauty into life. I'm describing it all. That book is all about women, by the way. So, we are meant to bring color and beauty into life. So, and we should decorate ourselves nicely for the pleasure of the husband. So we have to learn these things right from a young age. And the boys are meant to be boys. They're meant to, protect and lift things and shovel things around and. So that training, what used to be given from young age, just to make sure we don't get confused, But these days, this training is not there, The boys are playing with dolls and the girls are climbing the trees and everybody wears pants and, it's all mixed up. So, and then you can easily get confused with your previous life if you don't get that training, Makes sense, doesn't it? Yes.
So much.
Yes. So that can be one reason that, she was not trained how to act as a girl, and therefore she still remembers her life as a boy, and then she's all mixed up. That can be one reason, but then the other reason, of course, is also the environment because of this whole gender confusion. I mean, in some schools in countries like Sweden, the kids are given the choice. So what do you want to be today, a boy or a girl? Yes. Yeah, they confuse the kids completely. I've seen videos, people have sent me videos on these topics, where some boy wears a dress, and he's a girl today. And yes, so it's complete crazy, Yeah. And it's always some higher plan just to break up the family unit. Because, there's one American Christian preacher. He wrote an interesting article. Men and women more confused than ever. And I quoted some of his article in that first book. And he says the same thing, basically, what Prabhupada says. And he makes this point that the family unit will only be stable if man and woman's roles are clearly defined. Yes. And because that's not clearly defined anymore, you can see, the family unit falls apart. So, and if the family unit is weak and falls apart, then people can be manipulated, in any damn way. So a society gets their strength from the family unit. That makes the society strong. So there's a conscious plan behind it. Social engineering, we call it. Yes. Just to make the family weak. And then, people are gullible and they can be manipulated in any direction and used. And, and I mean, all this is also entering India now. I remember once I was visiting Bangalore and we had a seminar. And one Mataji was telling that her 11-year-old daughter at school learns what is the modern family. Single mother and dog. And she said there was a picture in the school book, mother, 1, 2, 3 children, dog. Modern family. So like that, people are made to feel okay. It's okay to get divorced. Nothing wrong with that. Single mother and dog. No need for the husband. Dog can protect. And that's modern family. Yeah. Quite alarming, isn't it? Yes.
I think Mataji, based on what I'm hearing is Indian, the old culture which was there, people might not appreciate, but at least there's gender confusion and all. In those days, there was, I don't think, not only in India, but elsewhere also it wasn't there, right?
No, of course not.
Yeah. So
In my childhood, 60 years ago, the world was still okay, Yeah.
10, 20 years ago, we didn't hear.
yeah, exactly.
Even in America, we didn't.
Yeah, it's a whole new direction. Yes.
Sometimes we are afraid, our children are studying in these schools. I don't know how they will go and what are the surprises which we may get in the future.
Well, we have to balance it with strong Krishna consciousness in the home. Naturally, a culture of sadhana, a culture of kirtan, that will balance things, at least to some degree. Yes, we have to make some effort to really give them something, take them to different places and make Krishna consciousness colorful, exciting, dynamic. Yes. All right, so if anybody wants any books, you can pay cash or through Zelle. Okay? Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Amavita Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Gaura Premanande.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Is it okay to bring some fruits on Ekadashi? I don't know what you will eat.
Yeah, I haven't eaten so much today. I fasted for half a day and I had a few cups of soup.
So fruits okay?
What fruit?
Banana, orange.
No banana. No banana in the evening. Orange is also not
Apples.
a bit sour.
Apples.
Yeah.
Avocado.
Pear. Pear is also good.
Yeah, I'll have some apple. Keep it simple.
What do you want to say?
So who was it who had their birthday yesterday?